you guys, and welcome to another tutorial on fly tying. Today's tie is going to be a rabbit zonker bugger. It's a form of the woolly bugger, just taking a twist instead of using marabou, or some people can even use like bucktail or something as the back end of the fly. To where in this one we're going to use a zonker strip. Gives it much better movement in my opinion. I also tie them in basically all white with a little bit of flash to it because of the smallmouth and trout really like them. I have not used them for trout yet, but I've seen a lot of people throw flies exactly like this for trout or even bigger. This is what we're going to kind of make out today. This is my favorite pattern for it. I also do other variations, like there's some without legs and it's just plain white, no flash. Some with just white legs, same ordeal. I mean, barely changing anything, but a little bit does matter here and there. But once again, I use these for smallmouth fishing. Great smallmouth bait. Actually imitates, kind of looks like a little minnow going through the water sometimes. But there's a lot of people out there that love these for trout fishing. That's what I would kind of start using them for. We have a little river not too far from us called the Little Elkhart, connected to the Elkhart River. And they stock that with browns, rainbows. I've heard there's brooks in there even. But I'm hoping to get over that way soon with a buddy of mine when he comes back from the Navy. And these are what we're going to use, so let's get to tying. First off, it's going to start out with a medium nickel cone head. And then I ran out of my size 6 streamer hooks, but the dry fly hooks are very, very similar, so I'll be tying one up with one of those. Although I do recommend the Mustad streamer hook if you want it to be correct, I guess. And then you're just going to slide the cone on the hook. Let's fasten that up. And just start in the middle of the shank on this one and just work your way back. Tight threads, don't want it coming unraveled. A lot of people use Zap-A-Gap like crazy, and you can. I think it's a little unnecessary on smaller flies like this, but you could always add it when you're done at certain points. Whether you just tied something on, you want the thread to stay in place, so on and so forth. Then the first thing we're going to do is take the white rabbit zonker, one of those right here, except I already have mine cut out to save a little bit of time. So just like I was doing in the crawfish making tutorial, I'm going to rip out all those fibers. At least I do. I prefer it that way. And just tie that on there, one loose wrap. I like to get it pretty well placed because this zonker can definitely twist and turn on you. I do like using the Zap-A-Gap on the zonker tie, just because it can move around pretty easily since you're basically tying on the skin. Let's see if there's any Zap-A-Gap left. There we go. That was harder than anticipated. Sorry, what you guys missed there was the Zap-A-Gap bottle was kind of glued shut from all the dry glue on the tip, and when I was trying to pick it out, I shot like half the bottle out onto my hand and had to get it all off. I'll just take a few more threads over that. Kind of get it built on layers. I'm going to turn this into a little cone here just so I don't have the chenille sliding on me, going off that edge. The next step, we're going to add in some pearl chenille. This is kind of a little bit flashier than what I normally use. And I don't know where any of my chenille is. Oh, there it is. So what I was used to using was just plain old white. But I figured this would add a nice flash to the body since I kind of put a type of streamer here around it, just because I don't like using hackle too much. I truly think it's a little bit of a pain sometimes. Man, I got super glue all over my hands. Anyways, so you're just gonna tie this on the end here without getting super glue everywhere all over yourself. And then we're gonna come to the middle here. This is where I like to throw in my legs. So what we're gonna use are these Sili legs that are barred. They're kind of like a pearlish silver. What I do is I take 3 strands, just because you get a bunch of this in there, so I'm not too worried about wasting a little bit here and there. Even them out or relatively close. And then secure those on there. Now we're going to wrap up the rest of this shank. Add some texture to it so that chenille has something to grab onto instead of just sliding across the hook itself. Damn, I still got super glue everywhere. Then from here, what I like to do, I've used my other vise I have here. This way it's not going to slide on me. Throw just a little whip finish. Just to get my bobbin out of the way for me. These are very nice to have. I think you can buy them for like 12, 13 bucks. Pretty inexpensive. Just a nice tool to get that crap out of your way when you're wrapping chenille or any type of body, I guess, whether you're doing a streamer, whatever. And I kind of do with this 2 laps over itself. I like to form a little bit of a thicker body. And yes, the Sili legs will be a pain while you do this with this type of chenille. And just wants to grab onto it. I'm just going to add a little nice bit of flash to it. But I will warn you, this chenille makes a mess because it's basically twisted between a few strands, and once you cut it, those strands want to come unraveled a little bit. Tighten that in. Also helps push that cone on the spot it's supposed to be too. Do another little whip finish there. And next is for this other part. I want to create a small dubbing loop. What I use for this is this SLF Shanks dubbing. It's white. That's what it looks like here. Honestly, I'm not quite sure what this is supposed to be used for because I haven't done my research on it much. I just like the material, that I'd be able to make some great streamers with it. And then I kind of found another use for it along the way as well by doing this. Using this instead of hackle. I really like the look of it. You get it in the right light, it's kind of flashy. just going to take about 1 1/4 inch chunk there. Put that in your dubbing loop. It's going to be hard because of the super glue on my fingers, but you want to spread this out evenly long ways. You just want to stack it. And then just start twisting it up. You will see about right here, you can see it starting to intertwine with itself. Now it's getting real bad, so I'm going to take bobbin, just pull those little guys out. Make sure not to get those silly legs in there. I'll do this a couple times. Keep twisting and just pulling these fibers back out. Wrap her around, kind of pull it back as I do that. I'm going to go ahead and secure that nice and tight down, pulling everything back. And now you see that from the cone, this barely reaches past the tail. Covers up that flash a little bit, gives it a little bit better body profile, but that flash is still going to poke out and shine when it needs to. Now back for these. I'll do this kind of towards the camera a little bit. Usually these silly legs are pretty easily movable. Just kind of lift them up a bit. Oh, I broke one there. That's alright. Fish isn't going to care. But see, now they're kind of hanging to each side. Now what I do is I just adjust them to about the length of the body. Snip them. I'll just take my little dubbing brush or comb, fly tie comb, whatever. I'll just fan these back out and get all those knots out of them. Then I would come through and make some trim. Now, just need some of our Gulf Classic UV resin. You could use a zap gap, but there's a slight gap between the cone and the material there, so I like to kind of fill that in with that UV resin, just so that cone isn't going to want to wiggle or wobble anywhere and stay straight. Just because my theory on that is I've never had one like wiggle, but I feel like if it's loose, it's gonna grasp water one way or another. It might, when you pull that in, might want it to veer off to the side. And I want this to act as perfect as it can. And this is the Zonker bugger. There she is. I got multiple variations of this one. Get them all together here. 3 of them are alike, but 2 of them are different, like I was showing you earlier. And there's our 5 Zonkers. We'll keep on tying these up. I will try to get about a dozen of them done. But very effective streamer. You can use it for multiple species. You could, one thing people like to do, and I would do this on probably about 4 to 5 of mine, is articulate them. And what that is doing is you have shanks. I should make a video on that too here soon. Maybe I'll do that for next week's Fly Tying Tuesday. But you have these shanks here. Granted, this one's a little big. You can interlock these into each other. So there's these little slits in them, if I can get it. So you can make it so your fly is going to move like, let's see, just a second. This is a Bling Chocolate T-Bone, for example. Now this is a way bigger fly, but this one has 3 articulations in it. So it likes to move any way it wants to. It's going to create it so it can kind of have a little bit of a swimming action if I wanted to cup a little bit of a bill onto it. Another thing is, like, when you move these forward and you strip them forward, when they stop, they're going to kind of sway to one way, and that's why they're called the T-Bone, because it looks like a wounded fish. Another one is a game changer. Just tied up one of these the other day. These are articulated too, looks like a little bait fish. So you can definitely get different actions. I mean, it can completely change a fly. Sex dungeons, that's another good one. Those are notoriously used for trout. I mean, I've used them for bass and such as well, but there's multiple things you can do with these flies, which is nice. Another thing you could do is just downsize. You could tie these on a number 12 hook, just make them, you know, a lot smaller, and they'll be great for, you know, crappie, bluegill, smaller trout. You can make them a lot bigger. I mean, the bugger is just probably one of the most universal flies out there, honestly. I don't know what species want to go after one. But that's just my opinion. We all have different opinions on that. But, I mean, that does it for today's video, basically. I don't know if I'll get on and do another one tomorrow. Maybe I'll do an articulated one tomorrow if I got the time. I wanted to try to go fishing today, but I got too much going on. But maybe yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll do that articulated one tomorrow. I'll do it just like these ones because I need some anyways, just to show you how you would do that tie too. But thanks again for watching another tutorial on Fly Tying Tuesday, and I'll probably even see you on a Fly Tying Wednesday tomorrow like last week. But for sure every Tuesday I would try to be making a post to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You can just look up Brody Dunn on any of those platforms and you should be able to find me pretty easily. It's going to be the guy holding the fish. Yeah. If you go to YouTube, type in Brody Dunn, there's some little finger tech deck skater boys and stuff like that. I don't know about that stuff, but that ain't me. I'm the guy holding the fish. But thanks again for watching. See you on the next episode or tutorial. See you on the next tutorial.